And Sutherland On-Farm Solutions. This video clip is actually going to be specific about an individual label. The label I'm going to use is Tordon Brush Killer, a common spray that we use out on the farm. Now you'll notice here there is actually a whole bunch of classifications. I'm going to talk through each one of those classifications and what they mean. The first one on this label is actually a 3.1D. I go to my physical hazard classifications, we find class 3, and then we find the subclass which is 1, which means it is a liquid. It means it is a flammable liquid, but it's a D. Now, a similar liquid that you all refer to and understand would be diesel. Diesel has a very low flammability compared to petrol. This chemical is exactly the same. The next subclass I'm going to go to and need to have a look at is actually the biological hazard classification table. And this one here is the measure of what it will do to you personally. So the first one is a 6.1D. We go to the class 6.1, subclass acutely toxic. The amount of chemical you would have to consume would be quite some quantity before it would actually kill you. Don't recommend that you even try. 6.3 is actually looking at skin irritation. It is a B, but it will still irritate your skin if you actually get it on you. Minimising that by a set of overalls, just cotton overalls will be fine, and a washable hat would be also, cap would be ideal. The next one is 6.4, which is eye irritation. This is an A. This is actually quite a bad irritant, and I know personally myself in my younger days spraying with this chemical, by the end of the day my eyes were screaming. A lack of knowledge in my younger day, and I thoroughly recommend today that you actually wear some sort of goggles or sunglasses when you're spraying. 6.5 is an interesting one. It's a sensitizer. It will take away some of your senses if you actually get too much of this chemical. It will be either your taste, your smell, or could even be the feeling in your fingers. The one that really concerns me about this chemical is a 6.9, which means it will target your inner organs, that is either your liver, lungs, heart or kidney, and over a long period of time this chemical will actually have some effect. Please consider, if you are actually going to expose yourself to drift, then you must be considering the use of a respirator. Management of how you spray and always having the wind behind you with this is always going to take the chemical away, and try and keep the chemical on the plant. None of this up in the air or long distance spraying. And if anybody else is around, make sure they're well clear. The next three are actually under the ecotoxic, in other words, how they affect the environment. The first one is a 9.1A. This chemical is very lethal on living organisms in the water. A lot of our gorse grows on river banks, and here we are trying to spray them. We have to minimise the amount of drift or the amount of droplets that fall off the bush end up in the water. We'll be doing lots of damage. 9.2A, it actually lies in the soil. Make sure you've got all your hoses working properly. Leakage into a large concentration onto the soil means that this chemical will contaminate the soil for long periods of time. Could be anything from 50 to 100 years before we lower the concentration of contamination. The last one is a 9.3C, which is actually damaging to the terrestrial vertebrates. We are a terrestrial vertebrate ourselves, so as well as hedgehogs and rabbits. Not a good chemical to be used for that, and it will actually, it's a lower level at sea. Hey, look, that's a very informative information. This is the expectations that you should have for every chemical you use. Get it out, have a look at the classifications. If you don't have access to a table, it is actually written in word form, and you have a better understanding around what safety gear you should be wearing. Be safe, chemicals are dangerous.